On this very day, 40 years ago, Nintendo released one of their greatest accomplishments ever. They managed to create one of the most ambitious passion projects that will later down the line be recognized as one of the greatest video games of all time. This game, made for their first home console, the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES for short, was simply titled The Legend of Zelda. This one game inspired one of the most acclaimed and longest running game series you can lay your hands on. We're currently at the 21st mainline installment, not to mention a plethora of spin-offs and no sign of it ending anytime soon. To celebrate this 40-year anniversary, since Nintendo doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot, how about us fans just take it into our own hands? And for that, I wanted to take a look back at some of the greatest moments this series has given us over these 40 years. I've selected 10 moments that to me are the greatest and most memorable ones to date. For variety's sake and also to recognize how awesome this series is as a whole, I decided to limit it to only one per game. Of course, this video is going to be biased, and I'm not trying to hide that fact. These are just my favorite moments from the series. Like I said, I'm doing this to celebrate these amazing games and not to start a war over which ones are better or anything like that. So instead of focusing on which moments should be higher or which ones deserve to be on there and whatnot, just post some of your favorite moments from these games in the comments. Doesn't matter how unconventional they may be, and it doesn't need to be one per game like I'm doing. Everyone has moments that mark them with this series for various reasons, and I'm definitely interested to know which ones marked you guys and why, and I actually mean it. Before we get into it all, here are a few honorable mentions. Finding out about Null and Echoes of Wisdom was cool but lacked a bit of oomph. Still, it was an interesting lore reveal. We also have Sheik revealed to be Zelda in Ocarina of Time, which is of course very iconic, but everyone knows about this today. Even if you've never played the game, you probably know about it from Smash. I also just think there's a better moment from OT, so I would have left it out anyway. Same with the Ganon transformation at the end of the game. It's a really good scene, and if it makes your list, I totally get it. But one other moment from OT managed to barely take the spot for me. Next up, Midna's Desperate Hour from Twilight Princess. This one should be an easy lock-in, but the enemy music getting in the way of the moment is just too distracting. There's also another scene that I think is a tiny bit more memorable. Without the one per game rule, it would have made the list for sure. There's Anju and Kafei's reunion from Majora's Mask, which is a great moment after putting this whole quest together and figuring it out, but once again, I think there's a better scene from that game. Next up, chasing and finding the ghost ship through the fog in Phantom Hourglass I thought was one of the best moments in that game. And yes, I said one of the best. Finally, the ending of Skyward Sword has its fair share of great moments, but yeah, I think you know why I didn't make it by now. Speaking of, let's begin. I had to include this just for being the funniest scene in Zelda history. I don't think this needs any more commentary, just look at Link's face here. That is what you call art, my friend. The cherry on top is Groose calling the Earth Grooseland. Peak comedy right here. No other moment in the series has made me laugh as much as this one. This is pure gold. Enough said. Tears of the Kingdom's story has had its fair share of criticism, and most of it is definitely valid. Even with that, this scene will go down as one of the best in series history. I don't care how easy the plot twist is to figure out. I don't care that you know ahead of time that this moment is coming. It's so good. It would have definitely been higher if the rest of the story wasn't so easy to nitpick. Still, the scene of Zelda turning into a dragon, as well as her monologue, is great in a vacuum, and I still think is worthy of being on this list. Link's Awakening's story is phenomenal. It therefore stands to reason that the biggest plot twist of this game would make it onto this list. This reveal is as surprising as it is effective. It completely changes your whole perspective of the island, and the interactions you have with the people here just don't feel the same anymore. I also love how the remaining dungeons' music tracks change in tone to represent the fact that you know the truth about Koholint now. They sound a lot more sad and a lot less threatening overall. It's depressing, but in the best possible way, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think I need to add anything. The moment speaks for itself. So, imagine you're playing a huge exploration game. You've been taught with how the game is designed that getting the high spots on the map is a good strategy. At some point, you find yourself at the foothill of one of the biggest mountains in the game with a trail that invites you to make your way to the top of it. The cold weather is harsh and enemies keep attacking you, but you're ready for it all, so you keep pushing. Eventually, you make your way to the top, and then... Holy fucking shit. There's a gigantic dragon in need of being saved parked up there. This is one of the most epic things Zelda has ever made us do. I always appreciate when a game makes you feel this sense of scale. The feeling that you're so small compared to some structures or some other living beings in the world. And this is one of these moments for sure. But yeah, flying around and helping this massive dragon makes this moment one of the greatest in series history. I still remember when I saw my first of these 3 dragons in the distance and thinking it would obliterate me if I got too close. Imagine my shock when I saw this one up there. I think it's pretty obvious that it inspired the final boss in the sequel, which is also a great Zelda moment in its own right, but I feel like we have to give respect to the OG. This game is so good. There's so many moments I could have picked from it, but one of them stuck out to me way more than the others. After you, at long last, call the 4 giants and prevent the moon from crashing into the world, the fairy siblings finally reunite. Tattle throws a few jabs at Skull Kid, and then, after some mysterious voice starts agreeing with your companion, you see this happen. Holy moly is this spooky. The moon then starts saying it'll consume the world, the giants are barely holding on, and you then choose to follow Majora inside the moon. And then... What huh? Did anyone expect anything like this heading into the moon? I swear I didn't know what to believe anymore when I got here the first time, like my whole life was a lie. I'm really curious to know what was you guys' reaction when getting here the first time. I don't know what Nintendo was on when making this game, but I definitely want some. There's only one scene in Twilight Princess that I could put on this list, and how could I not? It almost made me shit my pants when I first played this game, and I was like 15. Granted, I was still scared of Big Octos in the Wind Waker at the time of all things, so I wasn't the hardest guy to scare back then. But on one random day in my late teens or early 20s in the middle of doing God knows what at the time, I stopped what I was doing, started silently staring at my GameCube and did so for at least 30 full seconds, hopped in the Wind Waker and headed straight to the closest Big Octo that was available to me on that save file. I had decided that I was done being afraid of something in a children's game and was ready to face it head on. After defeating it, I let out a very embarrassing, "That was it? That's what I was scared of this whole time?" And that's how I got over my fear of Big Octos. But yeah, back on track. The Interlopers cutscene is shocking, and I'd even say disturbing far beyond what any other game in the series has done so far. What were they thinking with this one? Just Link's faces here are enough to make you as uncomfortable as it gets. He doesn't even come close to making these expressions anywhere else in the game. They really gave it their all with this one. Every moment that Ilia appears in is also absurd. Today I just find the cutscene hilarious, but it legitimately terrified me at the time. I don't know what Nintendo was on when making this game, but this time, I don't want any, and I hope it's illegal everywhere for humanity's sake. Maybe a bit low for Ocarina of Time, but the top 3 were set in stone for me. Okay, so picture this. You've been told by the cute princess that there are 3 stones that you need to collect to save the world from the bad man of the desert, or something. You're not sure if it's true, but I guess that's what you have to do for now to progress in the game, so might as well get them. But once you try to make your way back after collecting all 3, you are greeted with this scene. A reenactment of the nightmare Link is having during the opening cutscene of the game. Rain is pouring down, and as the bridge draws, you see the Princess Zelda make her escape with her attendant, with the dangerous man following right behind. This moment is great, not only because it's probably the biggest turning point of the story along with drawing the Master Sword for the first time, but also because this is what the game has been building up to up until that point. We get to see just how much more powerful Ganondorf is compared to Link here, but also how brave this kid truly is. He draws his sword and shield in order to buy Zelda and Impa some time to get away, which is the ideal thing to do of course, but the balls it takes to actually attempt it is quite a character-defining moment for our protagonist. A great example of why he is deserving of the Triforce of Courage. I also love the zoom on Link's face once the encounter is over. I've always understood it as the moment when Link realizes that this whole thing is a lot more serious than he initially thought. It's always been so impressive to me how these old games were still very good at showing the emotions their characters are feeling despite the limited technology. OT always had great facial expressions for its time, but even with Link's neutral face here, the presentation is excellent. Of course, the surprise of Ganondorf entering the Sacred Realm because of you and actually achieving his goal is also memorable, but it comes off as a bit goofy now. That laugh especially has not particularly aged well. But the scene right before it, I will glaze until my last day on this planet. I'm on the record on this channel saying that the ending of The Wind Waker is one of the greatest things in fiction, and I stand by that. From the time you get the light arrows until you see the end on your screen is pure Zelda greatness. Honestly, just pick your favorite moment anywhere during that span, they're all equally good. Whether it's one of Ganondorf's speeches, his transformation into Puppet Ganon, the final fight, or how Link plunges the Master Sword into his fucking skull, and his last comment being "the wind is blowing," referring to what he was talking about before the fight, or Link's permanent departure from his home island to find a new continent along with Tetra's final words, it's all so good. So yeah, pick your favorite moment from this finale and it's in this spot. I like them all basically the same. If I absolutely had to choose one among all of them as my favorite, I think I would go with the King of Hyrule's acceptance of his kingdom being something we need to move on from. His final words being, "It will be your land," it's just, man, I don't even need to say anything. If you've played the game, you know how hard it hits. Kinda disrespectful that they still named the new continent Hyrule in the sequels, but whatever. It doesn't ruin this game's ending in the slightest. This next one is by far the most underappreciated moment on this list, from the most underappreciated game in the series. This character is top 5 best in the series, and has probably the best development we've seen yet. He goes from feeling unsatisfied about his life to leaving Anjean's place in search of more power, which leads him to allying with Cole in an effort to revive Malladus so that the demon could give him the power he wants. Unfortunately for Byrne, Cole knew that once revived, Malladus would reject his demands due to his previous affiliation with the spirits. And after Zelda's body is used to revive the demon, that's exactly what happens. This betrayal has given him the opportunity to reflect on his actions and that he can still correct his mistakes. So he decides to join Link and the others in order to defeat the now resurrected Malladus and save the world. And during the finale, he manages to give Zelda just enough time for her to properly return to her body. But unfortunately, he would have to pay the ultimate price. This scene might not seem too impressive at first, but Spirit Tracks' writing is so good that you can't help but care about everybody involved. I'm telling you, my brief summary doesn't even come close to doing the moment justice. Byrne's sacrifice is one of the greatest Zelda moments without question, and helps make the game's finale one of the best in the series. Right from the moment you meet him, you can tell that this guy is gonna be special. Phantom Hourglass's writing is just as good as its sequel, and most of the game's best moments feature Linebeck in some way. Despite being a greedy, selfish, prideful, and lazy coward whose motto is fake it till you make it, this guy would turn out to be one of the all-time greatest characters in Zelda history. He is surprisingly likable, and that's mainly due to Sela telling him pretty much everything we, the audience, are thinking straight to his face. But the moment that cemented him in the Zelda Hall of Fame happens right before the final boss. At this point, Link has finally stopped the ghost ship, Tetra is back to normal, but Bellum catches both him and her and is about to do who knows what with them. But look who comes right on time to save the day. Oh hell yeah. Despite everything I've said about Linebeck, he still knows what's right and is willing to muster the little courage he has to help out the people who have been with him on his journey. The best part is, you can still clearly see that it's not easy for him to do this. He is evidently terrified, but still did what had to be done. His last words before Bellum possesses him are also perfect. During the epilogue, you can also see that this experience changed him for the better. He's still Linebeck, but he seems to have learned a lot of humility and appreciation for what he has, a great sign of positive growth. It might not be yours, but this, to me, is the single greatest moment in series history and caps this top 10 Zelda highlight reel. It's pretty crazy that this series has been going on for 40 years now. I can think of very other few ones that have been around for this long. It's a testament to how its general quality has stayed so high over time. Zelda obviously means a lot to me, and these moments are a major reason why. I've been around these games for most of my life at this point. I have not only played each game an absurd number of times, but I've now discovered randomizers and have slowly but surely been learning all of them. That's actually how I got some of my video ideas and how I met some of my best friends. I've even played in tournaments of these and got pretty far in some of them. It's without question my favorite game series of all time, and I don't think it'll ever be topped. So my personal wish on this 40th anniversary of the franchise is that by the time we have 40 more years of Zelda, I'll be able to add 10 more of these moments to this list. With that said, that's all I got for you guys today. Of course, do the things the algorithm likes if you enjoyed the video, and be sure to tell me your favorite Zelda moments in the comments. I also haven't made a community post about this, but thank you all so much for the 5k subs, you guys are amazing. So yeah, as always, take care and see you next time guys.